All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, very excited to be talking to an individual who is set to be competing at Unified MMA 52 and looking for that seventh straight victory against Roberto Pixley. Very excited to be chatting with Ramil Kamilov. How's your day going so far, man?
My day's very good. Lots to do.
Yeah, I can't complain. I'm doing what I usually do, what I enjoy doing, just, interviewing fighters and everything like that. It seems like a cool time to be, catching you for a chat. Just the last fight seemed to be kind of an interesting one, just in as far as it marking that first time you've got to go that full distance as an MMA fighter. Like, what do you glean from something like that? Like, just as far as, being able to manage that energy throughout the distance there. Is that like a formative, like necessary kind of experience for you there?
No, absolutely not. So first off, in my amateur days, I went 5 rounds, 3 minutes twice, so I know that I'm able to go 15 minutes straight. That's one. Two, going 15 rounds straight while you're dominating someone doesn't prove anything because, yeah, sure, I can dominate someone for 15 minutes, but what if it's going back and forth? There's a difference there. Your gas tank doesn't hold up quite the same when you're getting beat up, or when you're having scrambles when you're struggling against someone. So over here it was a bit of smooth sailing. And lastly, the whole reason for me going 15 minutes is because my gas tank wasn't up to par last training camp because I was sick with corona for 5 weeks out of the 8 weeks of my training camp. So once it got to the point where I could find a finish, I didn't have the confidence to push really, really hard for a finish because in the event that you don't actually get the finish and you have to fight the rest of the fight, you don't want to be so tired that you may lose a decision, right? So there was some I don't know, I guess nervousness over there of going for the finish. That's why I never ended up committing too hard to a finish.
I mean, really, those speaks dividends to the amateur learning curve. And it's cool you interpret it like that. I guess I wasn't sure if it almost seemed like a different thing as a pro, but I mean, it really isn't at the end of the day. And just really, yeah, like I said, speaks volumes as to how much the amateur learning curve helped you out. Because, like, even in a situation, like you said, where you're ill and not really, like, too sure about the cardio just relative to the illness being there, it would seem like you had a great performance, all things considered, just with the context there.
Yeah, I want to say I'm not happy with the performance, but it is what it is, and there's reasons for it being the way that it was. With what I was given, I can't see myself giving a better performance, so I can't be too mad at it. And of course, I'm happy with the result. It's another win and another step closer to my goals.
Yeah, I saw that 6-0 shout out after the fight talking about how infinitely blessed you are, and I caught the Sean Shelby at there, so yeah, definitely interesting.
Yeah, I'm. There's guys with my record right now on Contender Series doing well for themselves, and for me, I don't expect any handouts per se. So all I did was I tagged UFC and I said, just keep watching. I'm not even asking for my shot yet. I just want you guys to watch, and next time, after the next one, I'm gonna ask them if they like what they saw. I'm not even asking for my shot yet. I'm just having a conversation for now.
Well, I think you're well served to, get that attention on you in that specific regard, just with this being, I mean, like you said, the seventh pro MMA fight overall, and there are people on Contender Series around that spot, but also this being the fourth under the Unified MMA banner specifically, and then being on UFC Fight Pass. So I think all the factors are aligned to, get noticed and whatnot.
Absolutely. I know I'm noticed and I know that they're watching. I just want to continue showing some good stuff, and I wanna have good experience before I go in there. I want to show myself good. I want to have a good level. I want to keep building myself. I don't want to be like there's guys that get in 5-0 and stuff like that, and I don't want to be bottom of the barrel when I get in, because once you get in and you have your first performance, that's all that the international people are going to know you by. They're not going to know me for my killer performances in Unified or Absolute MMA, right? They're only going to know me for that performance. And you don't want to be the guy getting starched and then have the whole internet making memes about you and stuff.
I guess for some reason you strike me as a guy that wouldn't even be bothered by that, though. Like people making memes of you and stuff like that.
I think you're right about that. I have a great sense of humor. I don't take things personally, especially because I dish it out a lot, right? I do a lot of roasting of people, trolling, making fun of people. So you can't be the guy to talk crap about people, and then when it comes back to you, you can't handle it.
I guess it's just more of like your demeanor. It seems like, I mean, obviously you're focused on the, MMA careers and are passionate about that, but you seem kind of like nonchalant in a certain way, like in the context of if someone were to try to rattle you. I mean, like you said, you and Shawn Michael kind of went back and forth a bit before your guys' fight. So yeah, definitely something you're accustomed to in a certain sense, I guess.
Oh yeah, my whole life, man. I enjoy banter.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I guess that is true. I remember that article on the Unified site that was kind of referencing that too. Like you were getting in a lot of like street fight tournaments as a kid and stuff like that. So maybe some banter is coming before that, I guess.
Banter, and I'm also of the generation that grew up with online video games too. So I enjoy all that stuff. Not even for the video games. I enjoy it for the talking crap to each other aspect.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. But kind of an interesting post I saw a bit ago that I kind of want to get some insights into because it was referencing you on the Unified page. It's like, oh, ready to prove he's the best undefeated welterweight. And you commented saying, I identify as a lightweight. So interesting because you do have, accolades at 170 in the past, like that XFFC AMI title, and have fought at welterweight as a pro before. But you're looking at maybe 155 as like the sole primary path going forward as you're kind of focusing on getting that, I guess, attention by the UFC brass kind of thing?
Well, for as far as that XFFC title on my amateurs, I was actually supposed to fight at 155 on that event, but then my opponent pulled out 2 weeks out of the fight, and then I was on schedule to make 55. I just accepted at 170 because there was no one else, so I accepted a title fight at 170. As far as me saying I identify as a 55er, I'm kind of in between. I don't think there's really any, or like maybe 1% of the lightweights in the world that are bigger than me. I think I'm as big as it gets at 155. I think my frame is good. I know for a fact that I'm already good enough to smash out the bottom half of the UFC at 155. So I know that at the very highest level, at this time, that is the weight class that I want to be fighting at, but I know I can be successful at 170 as well. I just have to switch up my fighting style a little bit. And as I get older, as, I get stronger and inevitably bigger with time, 155 is going to be a lot harder to make. I don't know how sustainable it is, right? But while I can, I want to make it, hopefully for next fight. But 170 is just so relaxed, man. I'm eating whatever I want. I'm having a good time in camp. I'm not miserable, hating every day of my existence. That's a big thing. It's a bit of a double-edged sword for fighters. You want to be happy, you want to be enjoying what you're doing, but at the same time, if I'm a professional in a sport that's global like this, I'm going to also be fighting people that are, even outside of the sport, miserable every day and are used to struggle. People from third world countries that are hungry every day. I can't just be thinking that it's all going to be rainbows out here. So it's a bit of a dilemma, and we're still trying to figure that out with my team.
Yeah, it would almost seem like 165 would be the optimal class. I felt like there was some rhetoric about instantiating that on a broader level at one point. Like, I know some companies do have super lightweight title fights. Like, even localizing it to talking about Unified, I know they've done that before. I've seen BTC have certain title fights like that, but it seemed like that never picked up the steam that a lot of people were hoping for. Like, could that almost be the ideal weight class? Like, maybe switch things up, like have 165 as a category and amend welterweight to 175, or are you kind of good with how it is?
Well, hey, it would be cool, but I'm not in control of that.
Yeah, it would be cool to be in control of that. I get what you mean, though, but you were talking about the work you were getting in a bit ago, and I've always known you to get in that top quality Champions Creed work. Have you mostly been kind of, sharpening the tools there, or has there been maybe a bit of cross-training also?
Well, the only cross training I do, I guess I get boxing sparring elsewhere sometimes. I have my boxing coach, Oleg Zagierski, Ukrainian style boxing, very, very good. The best boxing coach I've ever worked with. And he's also got an understanding of kickboxing because he's had 20 kickboxing fights, classic style, no low kicks, but still very good for me. When I went to Vegas, the whole reason for going to Vegas is to get different looks and different sparring partners. I have all the skill work I need out here. We have Ryan Bird, obviously really good jiu-jitsu. We have, for wrestling, I have Clive Llewellyn, the Champions Creed, and Ron as well. Clive is a two-time Olympian from the 70s, too, so this guy's old school, got so many years of experience. Doesn't get much better than that. Striking training, I got my boxing coach. We got Crew Paul Sukas at Champions Creed, also great Muay Thai. Cage work, MMA, we have everything we need at Champs at the moment, and our team's been growing, and we've had additions to our team since we last talked about it, and I have pretty much everything I need for sparring partners. Very few things are lacking over there, so there's little reason to leave Champions Creed other than to create a journey for myself where I go out into the world somewhere else and make it, just get out of my comfort zone a bit more. That's really the only reason to leave Champs right now, for a training camp or like a 4-week camp, half of my camp.
Yeah, well, like you said, it's a great gym and seemingly ever growing. And you referenced the last time we talked the influx of newer talent there. So, I feel like it would behoove you to keep training out of there because, it's the whole, if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of adage. But, even as an extension of that, like you said, it seems to even be growing and kind of even further refining itself. So, love to hear that.
Yeah, so as for that, I might, with that said, I might do a camp over here for the end of the year, depending how life and the career turns out after this fight. We may be going elsewhere for a little bit, but that's only to give me like a small extra push. It's at the end of the day, it probably isn't necessary, but I feel like it will up my level a bit, and at least going to another camp, not another camp, but another gym with sparring partners, different sparring partners and different looks, maybe once a year or so, might be a good idea.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a happy balance of both of those things, like the core space and getting in some of those outside looks that you were talking about. But kind of curious to get some insights on the upcoming opponent here. Like, are you, I might have asked you this before, like, are you the type of guy that will go to your way to curate, like, the sparring partner dynamic to be fighting guys that, I guess, have similar body types or similar stylistic attributes to your opponent? And if so, who's given you those, like, Roberto Pixley kind of looks this camp?
Yeah, I do. With Pixley, I haven't. I went to do some boxing sparring at Olympus, and I guess Kimani Crawford is an amateur boxer out here. He's got maybe 30 plus fights or so. I was sparring boxing with him because I see Pixley as more of a boxer. I think it's pretty obvious if anyone's watched his fights. He's got some mean power, and Kimani's kind of the same, close range boxing, heavy right hand, very similar style. I've only sparred him once this fight camp, but other than that, I haven't been too worried about getting guys to imitate him.
So it sounds like based on what you're talking about, you've seen him compete before. I guess, you talk about his boxing being very powerful, and he's got the 5 finishes and his 6 wins, 4 of those being first round finishes, and he has fought in Canada as well as like Icon Fighting Federation. Like I saw he fought for Absolute MMA and FLA as well. So would you say that's the primary stylistic attribute you've seen from him, like his, I guess, like Western boxing and the power with that? Does he have any other, I guess, attributes you picked up on or anything like that?
I think that's all he's got against me is just some powerful boxing. With that said, I think my boxing's better, but I think the one thing he has over me is power and probably a bit of size, fighting at 170. Because I tried to get this fight at 165 or a catch weight, something lower, but they were insistent on 170, and that's cool with me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you it seemed like you would almost have preferred it to be at a lighter weight, is that more oriented to it being that weight category you want to carve the path through? Like, are you, I guess, looking to make a run maybe towards like a title in Unified to kind of better your chances to get noticed from some of these other leagues? Like, what's the, I guess, mentality in that sense?
I will talk about that after I beat this guy.
I like that. You got a little something for the post-fight interview then?
I absolutely do.
No, that's the way to be, man. You definitely understand the game in a lot of different regards, but it's always good getting to talk to you, but definitely wanting to be mindful of your time and schedule, Ramil. So in saying all of that, I'm curious if maybe there's like a final parting thought you'd like to add as we're wrapping things up here, man.
No, I just want to remind everyone, stay safe and stay bricked up with DMG masonry.